Right, so quickly to the newspapers, and Daily Guide says that Kwabena Ejapon dams Afoko is the biggest story on its front page, and Rollins mourns with Mahama. MP feats 1,800 BECE candidates. BNFT says SNIT assures prudent investment as it targets more bank oil stocks. The Ghanaian Times newspaper says former President Rollins, Chief Imam, others mourn with President Mahama, and 2 Bulgarians grabbed for ATM fraud. That's a story we would look at. Another story that's heartbreaking says here that Pastor abducts girl 14. Pastor abducts girl 14 and allegedly defiled her several times. The Daily Graphic newspaper this morning also captured the story of the Bulgarians. It says 2 Bulgarians arrested for allegedly cloning ATM cards. Lawyer Kodia suspended 37 million cedis released as research allowance for lecturers. Right, so let me introduce my guest to you. We have a lawyer and lecturer at Central University, Mr. Central University College, lawyer Yao Ofong. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good to have you join us. Also, Dr. Ejenim Boateng is the Dean, Graduate School, Ghana Technology University College. Good morning to you, Doc, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Bridget. Thank you.
Good to have you join us. I mean, this is a heartbreaking story I'm particularly interested in, and fortunately, my producers marked it so we can talk about it. It's about defilements. Let me just say, read just a bit of it, you know. I like the way the story was started. It says here that when a 14-year-old girl was asked by a 24-year-old self-styled pastor who had acquainted himself with many children within the community and to the family to escort him to a nearby town, little did she know that she was being abducted and prepared for marriage. He allegedly abducted the girl and defiled her, and he's been put before court. And in the court, the girl was said to have said that he raped her, or he defiled her every single day for 7 days. Well, I want to start with lawyer Opon. I have heard a story like this, I mean, one too many times, and in fact, in what's happening even in Syria, there was a story that broke out about a girl, you know, who is going through that because they had to give her house for marriage because of security. But if you come to Ghana here, a lot of the times when such stories break, as heartbreaking as it is, it becomes a bargaining chip for families to actually seek money from the person who is perpetrating crime.
Yes, good morning. Yes, that is it's heartbreaking as well. But I think because we are told it's still in court, I will be careful in commenting, at least commenting on the merits, or a comment that may lead to maybe judging this way or that way, because a person's liberty is also at stake. At this stage, it still stands as allegation, and until the person accused confesses or admits in accordance with law, or that after full trial, court of competent jurisdiction then declares that he is guilty and that the prosecution have established his guilt, and then maybe sentence him to the appropriate term. But I mean, the other aspects that you mentioned, I mean, it happens a lot. I mean, there are times, especially in what we call the compound houses, sometimes jealousy, and even at the workplace, there had been an instance where some teachers were, if you like, quote unquote, jealous of the relationship between, or the cordial relationship between the headmistress and the teacher, and they ended up framing him up and used one of the girls to go to his house. And then it turned out that the girl then came out saying that, oh, he has defiled me, and he had to take some other means by which the girl had to confess. Otherwise, the teacher would have been jailed. There was even a recent one which has been reported, had to take the Supreme Court to determine that all that story was a frame-up or could not be substantiated. So it happens, but the reality also happens. Except that this story, if that is what it is, then there are aspects that maybe it doesn't make me believe that it is clear enough. Number one, abducted and being prepared for marriage. So has he married her? And two,
he took her to, according to the paper here, that he actually took the girl, then took it to her to his family home and said, that's the woman I'm marrying. But then look at the ages, 24, 14.
Well, but for the fact that you cannot marry is it 14?
Yes,
a 14-year-old,
girl,
which obviously will constitute a defilement. Otherwise, age shouldn't matter. If the girl was 18 years, for example, 18 years, she can give consent for marriage. And if the other side was even 70 years, I mean, that one, since it doesn't offend any of our laws, I would have no problem with it at all. But if it is proven that he had sexual or intercourse with a girl who is about 14 years, then that becomes a problem because of the crime. Of course, health issues too may be an aspect, but I mean, in terms of the law, that is what will be. So we just hope that, and then we know our courts are bold, they can look at all the options. And only yesterday I was in the Supreme Court and a similar matter came up. And the issue was that the gentleman had impregnated an underage girl. He spent 15 years in jail. Then at the Supreme Court, they ordered for DNA test of the baby. It turned out that it wasn't his baby.
Nice.
No connection whatsoever. But the issue is, may not so much be whether or not he impregnated her, but whether or not he also had sex with her. But
while she was
according
pregnant.
to the lawyers, what the matter really before the court that jailed him was whether or not he impregnated her. And after 15 years, it turned out that even if he had sex with the girl, he was not the one who impregnated her at the time that she was under the age of, I think, 12 or so, or 13. Yeah.
All right, then, all right. Dr. Ejanim, for you as well, I mean, self-styled pastor, I mean, there are people that we hold in trust, right? Pastors, for instance. So if a pastor comes around and you have a young child there, nothing will cross your mind that this pastor, one, will fancy, have such perverts, you know, be preying on a child like that. But then it does happen. And I know persons who have gone through that. In fact, they are even afraid to take the person on. So it is completely not out of the norm to have such a thing happening. But we keep seeing this happen every day.
Good morning to your viewers. I think this is a sad case, and if this happens to my 14-year-old girl, I'll really be very, very upset. But we should also look at it from the facts point of view. And just as lawyer said, most of the time, you will find out that the story is not true.
Okay.
So if it is true, my argument
most of the time,
for
I
this...
actually bet you on that.
Right.
Most of the time, victims actually, the people who suffer it actually
Bridget, I admit, I know you always win. Yeah, but I don't have statistics to back that one, so I admit for now.
Okay.
Assuming that you have got the statistics.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
But what I'm trying to say is that we do tend to sometimes frame people, especially people in positions.
Okay.
That is not to say that this doesn't happen. It happens. So my argument and my follow-on discussion here is based on the fact that we are assuming that it happened. Okay, so if we assume that it happened, then I think one thing that we should always not forget is common sense and trust.
Okay.
We tend to think too much about the profession rather than the person.
Yeah.
And you remember, let me give you a scenario. I'm from the village, so I do talk about village a lot.
Sure,
Let me give you a scenario. In the village, there were certain houses or families that your parents would never allow you to play or to even marry from.
Sure.
If even the person is a pastor. Because they knew the behavior or what is it, the gender, I would say, that they had as compared to the trust if even the person has become a pastor. We do always tend to let people or ourselves, we do believe too much if somebody is a man of God. if the person is a judge, if the person is in higher position.
Sure.
But remember, we have our own persons before we took on this profession. Yeah. So what counts most is who the person is. So if we if we give too much trust to pastors, remember they are equally human beings. Sure. Blood runs through them just as it runs through me. So we should always think about the common sense, whether or not accompanying anybody at all to go to another village makes sense before we think about the profession that a person has. And let me also talk about some of the reasons, and I think it comes down to our upbringing also. We tend to have too much trust in older people. We don't train our kids to say no to issues. If even
a child is supposed to say yes to adults.
To adults. And I think this is also bad, because I know it happens in the Western world, but majority of kids, a 14-year-old girl in the developed country might refuse this pastor. Yeah. That I can't go there with you because I don't think it is right.
Yeah.
So I think the common sense aspect and the trust that we have for professions and others, we should think about it carefully. And also our parents. For example, I do a very simple trick that I have a password with my daughters.
Okay.
So if it happens that somebody asks my daughter, oh, daddy says you should come here, then what is the password?
Yeah. Okay.
If the person cannot mention the password,
that's a nice one to do.
Then it means that it is not daddy who sent the person.
That's good.
So these are some of the few tricks that we should, as parents, be adopting. Up until they are 18, when they decide to do their own thing, we should try and also put pegs, because for a Ghanaian, if you put, let's say, just a sign there, if you just tell the child, that is not enough. You need to put pegs to stop people from doing that. So the password and those things can actually help.
I mean, just a quick one on even, what the state can do if at a point in time the family decides that, look, it's our child, we're not going to pursue it, the victim is not testifying. Really, what case will the state, what evidence will the state stand on to prosecute such an individual if it is established that indeed they committed the crime and now the family doesn't want to pursue it anymore?
Well, that's important, but except that I'll take it up from the bottom. If it's established, because it cannot be established unless evidence is adduced to that effect. That's anyway, true. But it happens a number of times that we've been aware of, where sometimes even after the child has given evidence, and other people must also, or that the child should be present to be cross-examined. Today, the child won't be available, there are excuses, and sometimes that's how it ends. It's possible they may have settled the matter among themselves. And just to tie up to what Doctor said, you see, in the society we live in, people are protective of each other. And it's even worse if it comes to married women, for example, or let's say spouses.
Sure.
I mean, you dare not report your husband that he has abused you. I mean, yesterday, it's not here alone. Yesterday, I was listening to some news on the BBC, and Pakistan, women are rather kicking against a bill to protect them, I mean, like a domestic violence bill.
Yeah.
And when they asked them, they said, well, one, if you report your husband to the police that he has abused you, everybody, including your own parents, will ostracize you.
Yeah.
Virtually.
So the family system is strong.
It's very strong. And you heard people saying that if your wife misbehaves, and misbehavior includes refusal to allow you what we call consortium.
Okay.
To have a consortium.
That's a new word.
Yeah. That's an interesting. Okay.
Now, they said that is enough to entitle the man to beat you up as a punishment, so that next time you will not withhold that right or entitlement from him.
Okay.
And when it is also happening here, in fact, the entire society will not understand why you should go and report your husband. especially if they live in a family house. The woman dare not return to the family home where she and then also bringing in the state. It also happens because it appears that our social welfare system is not strong enough.
Okay.
This child, for example, if I won't be surprised if it's proven, then the parents may have been aware. Maybe this man is a benefactor. He is the one providing them with some provisions and livelihood and so on. And then you go and report the man. If he's jailed, they will ask you, how are you going to, Mommy, I'm hungry. So go and ask the man you prison, or ask the government. But if we had a good social welfare system where we have housing, like it happens elsewhere, public housing, they can just easily remove this child or that married woman or spouse to one of these houses and provide all your needs or necessities of life for you. So you are empowered to also challenge, as doctor said, people like that. But the timidity also comes in because at the end of the day, the last question is, who is going to provide your needs for you? And so, as it happened in a couple of cases, if they decide not to go and give evidence, the court may not be able to just rely on the statement that had already been given. Because this is a criminal matter and you prove beyond reasonable doubt. And if you are not able to do so, and the evidence available is not strong, like the case that the one I was telling you about is the Tamale case. In fact, one of the reasons why the decision was overturned was that there was a vital witness who should have been present in court to give evidence. The girl's friend. The girl said that the day the thing happened, I think a few hours later or the next day, she told her best friend. But they never brought the best friend to give evidence to support the case, and that really weakened the case. And it happens a number of times.
But we have to move the conversation forward because it's sad. Because I mean, I happen to be in a situation where a family member came and reported that she was going through some, and this is somebody you see they drive beautiful cars. It looks on the outside beautiful relationship, and I heard of somebody say that bro, pen or bro. You are looking nice. He takes care of you. Only beating.
Yeah, only beating.
So, I mean, but we've got to move on, and we've got to move on from that kind of conversation. Really have to. All right. I want to move on to another topic now. Now Interior Ministry absorbs intelligence agencies amid opposition.
I'm a bit surprised that Yoko in particular, if it's one of them.
Yeah, Yoko is there. Yoko is there.
Yes, should be brought under the Ministry of Interior.
The National Security Agencies, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, and the Financial Intelligence Center will now report to Mr. Prosper Bania until the Director Yoko was, as we said, under the Attorney General.
So I'm really surprised. And you see, sometimes we need to be told the reasons for these decisions. The President is a trustee. He manages our affairs for our benefit. The president is responsible to us and accountable to us. So the information sent to Parliament, which is a good thing, should have also disclosed what informed their decision making. Because if we should continue to put too many institutions under one person, in this time even the Interior Minister, and by extension the President, how are they going to even check their own members or people related to them? Because the Yoko in particular, and I'm stressing that, and then the Financial Intelligence Agency, they are two most important institutions that have been assigned matters that really relate to economics and finance. Where corruption really can be placed squarely under. And the bottom line is for their functions are to check corruption, prevent, and also make sure that corrupt persons who engage in corruption are prosecuted and brought to book.
But I before you can tell, I want to know, but has currently, in the deliverance of performing of their functions, have they been in any way, seen to be compromised or being unprofessional in the way they investigate it?
Well,
for you to even doubt,
for example, I think they become very busy or busier than normal when there's a change of government.
Okay.
And that is my personal observation. Okay. Because of a few things, at least I saw around 2009.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise, they are performing their functions. And sometimes you expect that when issues regarding crime in relation to maybe a government appointee or a top public officer come up, you expect that immediately they should step in and investigate. I don't think that I have observed, and this is personal to me, I've observed them doing so, especially in relation to allegations of crime or malfeasance against officials in government or top public office. But otherwise, they are doing well. I mean, they have a wonderful edifice now. Probably in the past we were not also resourcing, giving them the appropriate resources. So perhaps from now they will be able to do better, at least for us to see. But otherwise, I still don't see how they will perform better just by putting them under the Ministry of Interior and not under the Attorney General. Okay.
Same for you, Dr. Jenny Mbwasi, as to whether, you know, in the performance of their duties, they look to be rather compromised because, I mean, they are made up of individuals, professionals, I mean, regardless of who it falls under or which institution it falls under.
Yeah, we know that is the theoretical aspect of, but when it comes to practice or what actually happens in Ghana, in our part of the world, I think we know if even you have got the necessary expertise to deliver, the person who leads is very, very important. And the person you report to can either decide whether or not certain information are investigated properly or they are brought properly to the public. My little concern will be moving it from being non-political to political, because we seem to make everything somehow very political in this country. And so if something happens and this is to be reported to the minister and it is not in favor of the government, then do you think this information will come out?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it were to be with the Attorney General, then this information will come out because somehow he is supposed to be very independent, although he's appointed by the government. So I think the independence is most important. No matter how professional you are, for my years working in Ghana, I can realize that it is very, very difficult, and it is sometimes even better to be number one for territory issues than to be number two for the whole country. Because the person who leads you will not let your ideas flow.
But I think that just in conclusion, I think a lot also depends on us as professionals or public servants. It's possible for you to tell your leader that as far as my intelligence, my skill and standard
there's no question about
concern, I am not going to do what you are asking me to do, and that the law is against it. The first question then people, do you want him to lose his job? Of course, you can stand on your reputation and lose your job. Yesterday somebody asked me, do we eat reputation? You go to the market and say, I am a reputable person, so madam, reduce the cost of the cassava for me. But that is a reality. You should be able to stand at, because you see, what sometimes we forget is that the one who appointed you is not the one who is paying you. It is not his pocket money. It is not a private institution where you, even that one, there are shareholders who may oppose a stand of the managing director against you. So we should be able to look at the people of Ghana who pay us as public servants and envision what they would expect you to do, because they have also made laws by which you should comply. You as a professional should not do this. If you have to suffer because you have spoken the truth or you've done what is right, you suffer for it. One day everybody, I mean, people call Martin Amidu as number one. So it's because he stood for the truth, suffered, and now everybody respects him. But
just a quick one on it. I mean, you talk about your public servants and many others, but the political access are just, I mean, you can actually almost count, you can count them 1, 2, because the professionals are many. But why is it so hard for them then, if indeed those that perceived, you know, view or opinion that, you know, they can be manipulated? But why is it so hard? Because if there are many of them, and we keep saying that politicians will come and go, and the public servants always is there.
Yes, I think sometimes it's also because people get the positions when they were not competent at the time of the appointment, but because a favor had been done them. So, and once somebody, once somebody does that favor or grants you that favor, mind you, in your mind, you feel indebted to him. You'll be at his beck and call. But if you were competent amongst all people, you were not considered because you are the son of Dr. So-and-so or lawyer so-and-so, but because among all the people who qualify, you were the most qualified and you were appointed. You also know that if you are dismissed today, there are other institutions that will just ask you to join them. Then secondly, I think also our public service system, civil service system needs to be looked at again. The situation where, if you are 4 years, then you step here. If you are 10 years as a public servant, this is the stage you go to. People feel so secure. It shouldn't have been a bad thing, but when people feel so secure that whether they do this or that, they will be paid. Whether they do this or that, all they have to do is to be 10 years in public service and they jump you to a step. Not so much about performance being the fundamental, education on the job. And if you make people know that if you go beyond your bounds, this is the punishment and the liability for you, I think that they will rather do what is right and not say that, oh, my government is in power. And also they should, now you have a lot of public servants associating themselves openly with political parties. And once you do so, they know their job is secured, even though they may not be doing the right thing. All right.
Dr. Jenny Mbarasi, same for you. I mean, essence is just incompetence on the part of public servant, not necessarily because of a political bigwig or person sitting somewhere who just hide behind the politicians and rather do damage to the country and not necessarily the politics. Because, like he mentioned, I mean, if party changes, those people would go. The political actors who are known will go.
Yeah. I think in Ghana, politics is everything. That is what that is what sums up everything.
Sure.
Everything is political. Yeah. It's so political that even chief directors are changed, directors are changed when new governments come into power. So for me, I will propose that in future, even the terms or the selection of these should be midway between the term of the president, so that if a new president comes in, he doesn't have the power to change people in certain positions. If it is 4 years, yes, or some members. Because this is becoming too much, and if you look at the public service, not that they are not competent, a lot of them are very, very competent. You will be very competent, but the person leading it is not competent because he was appointed by a political party.
Yeah, but those people would go.
Yes, they will go,
when governments change.
I do, but he is the person leading. Imagine I'm the minister. You have designed something fantastic, very innovative. It has to be implemented. You need some finances. I say, no. Where does it go? It ends up there.
Yes,
so but the power that the politicians have is just too much.
No, but I'm saying he touches on integrity, where you know people stand by what they say or do. Was it in the case of, I think, the US, where somebody had to resign over? Oh, in France, Paris, when the person was jailed over flood in 2014. Yes, because he knew that this was wrong, and he had been told it was captured, but then he went against it, right? And he was held accountable. So that's what I'm saying. That how about you as an individual, as a professional, being professional to do your job regardless of whatever, and stand by that, and then who will hail you?
You will do that, but it won't go anywhere. I can bet you.
So you you play.
You will do it several times, okay? And anytime it gets to the person in position who is politically inclined, he will say no. What can you do? But what will be your next step?
Interestingly, the person you stand up to respects you more than the other one
that is true.
Was at his beck and call. That is the interesting part. So when they need someone to really give them an honest advice,
they go to those
they will
people.
go to that other person and not you, because you, and also because he knows that once he's been able to use you, other people can also use you, and therefore they will just toss you about. You think they like you.
It comes back to Dr. Agent. It was just common sense. Use let your profession.
And there's no consideration thing. Should just be abandoned.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know this is one topic that would excite Dr. Agent Mbuasi, because hospitals to be provided with solar power, and plans are far advanced. This is actually in partnership with some, US-based NGO.
Typical quotation.
And,
plans are far advanced.
in a pipeline.
No, that's according to the paper.
No, that's what I mean.
It's the paper that's saying it, not the minister. It says, you listen to it. It says, plans are far advanced for the execution of a $40,000 solar project to provide constant power supply to some hospitals in the country. Now, the pilot project under the United Nations-sponsored Maternal Health Solar Suitcase Program is to be implemented by We Care Solar, an American non-governmental organization in collaboration with the Ghana Health Service and the Kumasi Institute of Technology and Environment, KITE. Consequently, We Care Solar has begun an 8-day West Africa regional training to train 16 solar technicians drawn from Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, and the Gambia for the execution of the project. The solar technicians are from the Ministries of Health from the various countries, and sounds good. Especially when we are grappling with energy. I know, right?
It sounds good theoretically. It sounds very fantastic.
This is a partnership, an NGO partnering us to do
but
this.
I will ask you a very simple question of, let's go back to, say, January up until now. How many solar projects have we reported in the newspapers? I can bet you will count not less than 30. How many of them have we implemented? That is why the word plans are far advanced, or plans are in the is in the pipeline.
Okay.
I mean, we tend to.
This is not Ghanaian. This is a West African thing. It's not just Ghana.
No. I think we have had a lot of these. We have had a lot of these. For example,
what's your challenge with this?
My challenge is that we tend to make a lot of noise and we are not doing much. It's a really very laudable idea, installing solar for emergency cases, for example, for essential equipment in hospitals, so that people don't die or power go off and we are losing some people. It's really very important thing to do. But then I'm concerned that we have had too many of these, and most of the time they don't get implemented.
Who are we going to hold? Because in this case, the one in charge, the project coordinator, who's not Ghanaian, says that they're going to do that. They especially in Ghana, she said that We Care Solar would provide 10 solar power suitcases in Accra, Ikuapem South, Aguna East on a pilot basis for during the training. So it would happen. So what happens? Is it the implementation after, or what is it?
I think there is a lot to learn from when it comes to solar.
Okay.
We seem to think that anybody at all can install solar.
Okay.
So most of them installed are not working properly. I drive around the airport area, just behind the airport. You see the solar panels inclined at that and that. Okay. It doesn't happen. Just the inclination of the panel can decide whether or not the system is working properly. And it must face south. But if you do this, it means north and south or east and west. And at any point, you are not getting the optimum. And most of these companies who come, they have got the money to do the investment. But the technical aspect, I am concerned. A lot of them,
I think you're touching on the point.
Yes, a lot of them get installed within months. They are not working properly because even dust can let the whole system stop.
Okay.
And that kind of education is what I think we need. I know Energy Commission is doing a lot of good job in this regard, but then we need more of these technical people to actually train people. This training after that, 18 people, do we give them the equipment and others to go and do maintain systems? No, at the end, they are just trained people. They come back to their places, and solar is complex. It is new, and I think we should invest much more into that. Not just hospitals. We are talking about schools, very simple ones to power pumps for water pumping and the rest. The government initiated 200,000 homes, which I know you can get 500 watts for free. Have you applied anyway?
No, I haven't.
You should. You should. I know they've started.
Okay.
Yeah,
oh,
they've started.
Nice.
They've started installing some of them. So I think it is a very good idea. And all the energy situation that we're facing, if we should start thinking about some of the hospitals and others, I think it's going to be very helpful.
Okay. Before I come to him, so you're saying that technically there is a challenge.
There is.
Because we're not getting either. We're not using the right people to do that. So it will get to a point that we'll invest so much and we'll have to come back and start because we did the wrong thing.
I'm going to tell you this story. I have trained 1,000 electrical engineers in the whole of this country, in all the 10 regions. I designed systems which were put at the back of trucks to go to all the 10 regions and then train them. But afterwards, these guys, are they performing? Possibly not, because we did not supply them the necessary equipment that will make them go into full-scale installation.
Okay.
And if you go to a place like, is it Burkina Faso or so?
Yeah.
Even on the street, you'll find solar being sold, solar panel being sold as a commodity. Because the government has invested in it. A lot of the cheap ones being installed in the north are coming from these neighboring countries.
Okay.
But in Ghana, if you bring solar to this country, look at the price. The price in the system here is about 3 times the price in China.
Yeah, last time I checked, I think I had to mention that I asked them, 2 ACs.
2 ACs.
I mentioned 2 ACs, 1 fridge, 1 microwave. They said about 15,000.
That shows how ignorant you are about solar. Sorry.
Because it doesn't power AC.
It does, but then
so what are you saying?
Let me put it in perspective.
Because that is what the experts
Bridget,
said.
I'm going to put this in perspective. One of the panels that you see about that size, is about 250 watts. The ordinary AC in a small room will be about 2.5 to 3 kilowatts, which means that you will need 4 times 3, 12 panels, in order that you can switch on that AC.
1 AC.
1 AC.
Okay, then
and
they are deceiving the public. No, because
this is what I mean.
Because then it means those who are selling it. Because I got this information from people who are selling solar. I went to them when the energy crisis was very serious. I told them I have 2 ACs, 1 microwave. I told them I had a fridge, mini, and they said, "Oh, it's going to cost me 15,000." No.
This is.
So they are lying.
15,000 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
I think the person was so generous. Maybe he's getting this from Ghana. 15,000 Ghana cedis, let me tell you what you can get. 15,000 Ghana cedis, you're only going to get about 1 kilowatt. And 1 kilowatt will power all the bulbs in your houses. In your house.
I have an experience, it's true.
Yes.
But it's good. I shared this experience.
So these are some of the things people are going around. I said, what are you using this to power? And he said, we'll power 2 or 3 of our ACs. And I said, no, you will not power even all the bulbs in your...
Actually, because you see, I have...
They are misinforming us.
Yes, they are.
So this is the kind of education that I think we need to have. And that is why reporters are unable to ask specific questions. And everybody comes in wanting to install solar for hospitals, wanting to, and 3-4 months down the line.
Give them the money. No, thank God I didn't give it. Because, I was even comparing that to a plant. Because, I needed to make a decision on whether to get a plant or to go for solar. And it sounded, please share your own experience with me.
What I have is I spent more than what the amount you have spent. Or you have proposed. But it can't even power all your lights throughout the night, and just with maybe 2 or 3 standing fans.
How much?
So the next day, more than the amount you mentioned.
So you're talking about
you can't even use a fridge, an ordinary fridge.
No, it is not that bad. I should say it is not that bad.
But they are not being honest about.
Yes, people are not being honest, and sometimes the people themselves are not very aware, or a lot of the sellers. because they have got the money to invest and they are selling, but they don't seek the technical support to actually let them understand.
I'll let you speak more, but I want to hear, you know, from him on what's happening with your solar and how this can even is feasible. So share with me your experience.
You see, and I think maybe Doctor will confirm, but I think the misconception also is that without sunlight, you cannot get the full effect of the solar.
Okay.
And so the first person who installed it made sure that it was facing the east.
Okay.
All right. And we're not getting the maximum supply. So the another person comes to say that, you see, he has to face
the south.
The south or the west.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that because there's more sunlight at the west, because from 12 o'clock the sun then goes this way. Then the third person too says that it's not so much about sunlight, but heat and vapor in the system. That's what I'm saying. You can.
I think really, maybe we really need to start. This is my problem. Let us start educating people even from the primary school.
No, but this is
because this is the future.
No, but doctor, these are experts.
No, supposed to be experts, but not experts.
Well, they're holding themselves out as experts.
They are misleading people because I don't know how solar works. So I come in and I say, I don't know how does it work. They sit you when I explain to you and I say, okay, this is what I have. Says, oh, no problem. We can do all that for you.
No, there are a lot of things, and if you are to go through all these, I mean, even the direction, apart from the direction, even on the panel, okay, on the panel, if you have dust accumulated on it, it might even stop the system from working completely. When it comes to the direction, you need to let it face out because we are on latitude 5 degrees.
Not the west, 5? But south.
It should be on the facing south.
All right.
Okay, because the latitude is here, the sun is starting from the east and it goes around this way.
Right.
Okay, so if it is facing this way, then it means that it has sun all day long.
Right.
If it is facing the east, then you have sun in the morning.
Okay.
Which is not hot
And
enough.
then in the evening,
So
in the evening, there is no sunlight on it.
No.
So your system is not performing.
Okay.
If it is facing the north, yes, I know there is a lot of argument about getting enough for the north also because we are very close to the equator.
Sure.
But then, it faces the north, then it means that when the sun starts from the east, it is in the north. So just a little. And then when
the south is always operate without actual sunshine or sunlight?
No. The sun arrives to us, arrives on the earth in two forms: heat, and what is it? The light.
Yeah.
The heat is what is converted to solar water heaters, and then the light is what is converted to electricity. So without the light, it doesn't have to be. But without that light, the solar will not work.
Okay.
So on cloudy days, all these are taken into account. On cloudy days, what happens?
Sure.
So it has to be properly. It's a profession on its own.
Yeah.
It is not just an electrician.
So what should I mean? It's sad that persons who are supposed to know better to educate persons who don't have
Energy
any.
Commission.
It's
Energy Commission and their allies should be able to.
Energy Commission does some job, but it is huge. And left with me, I will think about introducing some fundamental courses in energy.
Because at this rate, when we still don't have, we have what is called generation problem.
Do we even know how much our equipment consume?
Yeah.
The TV, we don't know. Even the mobile phone that we hold, do we even know how much power it consumes? We don't know. Because if you know all these, you can even do your own calculation to know how much you are consuming in a month. And you will not rely so much on ECG to come and take readings before you know how much you are consuming. So the education is very, very important. And it has to come from, possibly from the JSS level for us to learn about energy management in the homes.
So would you say, so is solar the way to go?
I think solar is the way to go. But actually, the efficiency at the moment is quite low.
Why?
The efficiency, yes, because it's a I don't want to go into all the electronics of it, but it means we have three types, and the one with the best, which is the monocrystalline, has efficiency of just 14% maximum.
Okay.
Which means that of all the sunlight arriving on the panel, only 14% will be converted to electricity.
Okay. Wow.
And until we push it on to about 50%, which is what nanotechnology is working on, or people are working on nanotechnology to improve on it up to about 50%, then we'll be able to use it on a wide scale. But as of now, it's quite expensive. Although the panels prices are coming down, the batteries remain very costly, the inverters become very, very costly, and so you don't see the effect.
Okay. All right.
So it's
but
the
how
future,
about
yes.
the thing that, lawyer, I keep hearing is, the few that have been installed, people actually steal them.
Yes, it can be stolen. Yes.
People actually steal them, like on the store. But if we want to go that way and people are stealing them, what should we do then?
Oh, well, but I mean, that's we have to live with it because it's a criminal offense. Criminals are all over. That shouldn't stop us from doing what is right. Maybe we just have to convince people that it doesn't pay to steal this thing. But the fact that they continue to steal means that they have a standing market, ready market for it. So instead of people going to the appropriate places to buy, they rather will buy a cheap one. And sometimes they know that this is a stolen good or product, and we will still buy it. So a lot depends. If they don't have market for it, they will stop stealing. So a lot depends on those who want to buy to just be discouraged and just go to the, and it is difficult to even know who is it that is accredited and has the technical know-how and so on to install it. Sometimes you may have to change 3 people, as in my experience.
Before,
I think you have to go through Energy Commission. That is my advice.
Can get solar.
No. You have to go to
install.
They have companies that they have registered and accredited, and most of these companies are quite good to install. But it is a general thing. It is not only in Ghana that people really don't understand. Solar is a late addition. It's not been in the system for a long time, so we do not have enough professionals in that area, even in the Western world.
But they can publish them, Association of Solar Experts.
I think it is being published. If you go to their website, the names of companies who can actually install solar and have been accredited are available.
The final words I actually want to get is, but given that you mentioned that the efficiency level currently stands at about 14%, are hospitals a good way, a place to start from?
No, it is very good because you see the installation and how it is even done informs how well it will be used. For example, in my home, I will not use solar in powering an air conditioner if I had one. I don't have one. If for microwave that you were talking about, I will not go close because microwave is in excess of 700, 800 watts, which can power all the bulbs in your house plus your TV.
I think I checked. Mine is actually 1,000.
1,000, you see. So 1,000 would mean you need minimum 4 of the panels to power the microwave alone. That is the optimum day.
Ooh.
So I think the education is not there. The hospitals is brilliant. If I go to the hospitals, I will power certain equipment, but not the high consuming equipment. I will not go close to that for now because they might even not have enough roof to do that.
I see. All right. It's been an interesting. We had to stay on this because we actually got calls that people were enjoying the discussion on the solar, and my producers were like, we should just stay on. Just quick comment on this topic that's carried by. I think we have just about 3 minutes. Oh, 2 minutes. All right. That lawyers chides Maham over whether the gifts, Ford gifts, and that but Kweku Baku Jr. and Kwesi Part said that, yes, much as they appreciate, the work that Manasseh is trying to do, he rushed the work and shouldn't have drawn the conclusion that he drew.
Oh, well, let me just give a quotation from the Bible.
Sure.
Proverbs 18:16. A man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before great men. A gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. So generally, giving and accepting of gifts shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
But we have made it a problem when some other people accepted gifts.
Okay, and we made it.
The judge's issue. And then we found it necessary to raise the bar for them and make the acceptance of a gift.
Hey, so you're speaking for lawyers and judges in this country.
No, we are talking about three organs of state. Judges, the executive, and the legislature.
Yes.
And so what is good for the goose may not necessarily be good for the gander, but then we should maintain a standard.
Okay. All right.
Because I am one person who we say achedie and ademudie. Sure. Achedie can become a bribe, or a gift can become a bribe if it influences the person to take a decision in favor of a person who otherwise wouldn't have been entitled to that decision. And people said, "Oh no." So let us apply.
No, but this one was, I mean, but this was not tried by the public. This was in court.
No,
so if somebody wants to take
the public already made up their case. But I'm saying that we have brought this upon ourselves. Right. In our system, some people even believe that they're entitled to gifts. I mean, if my mother dies and you don't bring me someone, I think that you are not a good person.
That is why we write
so we should be able to differentiate between a gift and a bribe, or a gift that has been converted into a bribe.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise, this is cool. No problem.
It's cool. All right. The agent, Dr. Agent, just a quick one, and we can go. I think it's
all right. We all accept gifts.
Sure.
And we don't always accept bribes.
Yeah.
So I believe
if it influences.
I believe if it is going to if I suspect if I suspect somehow that what you are giving me will influence me in my decision making.
But what if the work has already been done? You're just saying thank you.
Well, but then it can influence subsequent decisions.
Yes, subsequent decisions. So if you are in any way suspecting, what is making it
or it's possible that the first one that you did, you may have inflated the price, and you are now giving me a portion of that booty.
And the maybe.
Maybe, because if you look at, I think President Mama is going through all this because the gentleman later won a contract, isn't it? If it were just a gift, I know a lot, President Mama gets a lot of gifts. So if it were just a gift and he was not bidding for any contract, that would not be an issue.
But then, I mean, if the company qualifies, in all of those things has to come. Is the company qualified? Well, unfortunately, my piece is it's time. Let's go. So let me say a big thank you to you, Dr. Ejedim Boateng, for joining us this morning. Fantastic education. I mean, of course, lawyer also did it. You know, when it came to the law, I think this was a perfect match. Thank you so much both for joining a lawyer upon the lecturer, Central University. I know the other ones.
I will go and learn from him, so he will also come.
I know, right? and lawyer and also lecturer, Central University, and also Dr. Ejedim was a dean, graduate school, Ghana Technology University College. I know those of you who want this number, we'll get it for you later on. But thank you. It's been a very fruitful discussion this morning. Stay with us here on New Day.